What is up guys, Munash here, and today I've got a bit of a longer Alliance War video, and that's because I ended up doing 12 fights in this war, and it was a little bit interesting for me because I did part 3 for a change, and then I switched to part 6 in section 2. So for this war I went with Quake, as I always do, and then I went with Stealth Suit Spider-Man and Nick Fury, mostly for the synergies, because I figured I only need to use Quake and Stealth Suit for this war. So yeah, let's get into it. So for the first fight I had Hela with Psychic Thorns and quickly Nullify. Quake does pretty well for this because she doesn't need to make contact, and when she does, she can lower ability accuracy, so when the concussion's up you can make contact and not take any damage. Okay, and she goes down, no problem there. Fairly easy Hela. So now we've got Namor with special attack, heal block, and psychic thorns. So again, going with Quake, and they are using the defense tactic flow, which will give control champs a power gain buff whenever you crit them, and that'll give them 45% power over 15 seconds, which is actually quite a bit, so that's just something to watch out for when you're fighting control champs. Fortunately I'm using Quake, so I'm really not going to be critting all that much or at all, so I don't really need to worry about that. Took a parry there. It's been a while since I've quaked Namor. As long as you can finish the fight before it gets to Imperious Rex, you are pretty much good. And there we go. Okay, and last on this path is going to be a Sentinel. So just a heads up, I did end up doing pretty much every fight with Quake, so yeah, just keep that in mind if you're not keen on Quake gameplay. One thing that was pretty weird about this war is that I had a couple of dropped inputs, as in my heavy dropped quite a few times in this war, even though I did not lift my finger off the screen. Okay, so now we have Dormammu with Aggression Fury. So using Quake here, I just gotta be careful that you don't parry or get hit whilst he has multiple Fury buffs, because that will do quite a bit of damage. So I am gonna boost a bit. And I think what makes this fight a bit tricky is if you can't manage the Furies, it also scales with his degen damage. So the more Furies he has, the stronger his degen will tick. But fortunately with Quake, as long as you don't make contact with him, you won't get any degen, and you won't take any damage. So as long as you can Quake, it's actually a fairly straightforward fight. The concussion can mitigate the Furies, but because they are ticking so rapidly and you won't always have the concussion up, a few can still sneak in. Okay, now moving to part 6, where the first fight is Magik with limited immunity. These nodes are pretty much irrelevant for Quake, as long as you don't make contact, so there's a lot of fairly straightforward fights. And that's why I love Quake, because she just bypasses so many game mechanics. It's actually insane how many fights she can handle. Okay, and Magik goes down, no problems there. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting fight because it is a Vision with no retreat. And so now what I like doing with no retreat, I usually just parry heavy for the most part. But now I am a little bit more comfortable in heavy only, so you're going to see a bit of that here. And I am going to boost because I do need to do a couple more fights after this. And just heal her up a little bit. So here I wasn't sure, I didn't actually check the sig level, but fortunately it's a low sig one because you didn't gain that much power. And now when I'm in the corner, that's when I start doing my heavy only. So you see there, he tried to synthesize power, but because I had concussion up, that didn't work. Okay, almost done with this fight. I didn't think he was going to be able to hit me. I thought the concussion would be up in time, although I do get clipped there. But yeah, that wasn't too bad. Okay, and now we have Heimdall with limited immunity and unblockable. And again, as long as we don't make contact with them, we won't have to worry about any of these nodes. And this is also why I can often afford to bring a champ just for synergy, because Quake can do so many fights on her own. Heimdall is pretty aggressive there, and I do get clipped. Oof, dropped my heavy there. I'm glad I got the stun. He goes down. Okay, next we have Havok, and this is where the war started getting messy for me. Made some serious mistakes against this one. So I go in with Quake and I decide to pop a regen boost. Now I'm just doing heavies because Havok does push you back quite a bit, so you don't have to dex after you evade until you're in a corner. Then I get the stun. I accidentally drop my heavy because I wasn't paying attention to the earthquake charges. And there I try to intercept him, but because he pushes you back a bit more, I couldn't. Okay, now I'm pushing him to a special 2. And now watch this. Now I'm like, I try to bait it, that didn't work, he just ends up hitting me in the face, I catch a combo, he's at 3 bars of power now, and I know I'm gonna die. This fight is over, I'm pretty much screwed, nothing I can do about that. And yeah, so mistakes were made here. Oof, that was painful. So I'm like, okay, this is not going to be my last fight. So I am going to heal up Quake, because I know I can do this fight. It's fairly simple. I mean, I've done this fight before, but that was just bad play from my part. And this is what I should have done in the first fight. not drop my heavy. And you see that Aftershock is doing so much work to mitigate the plasma charges. And then only on the third Aftershock, that's where I should start hitting him to push him to a special 2. So that's what I should have done in the first fight, but anyway, we're gonna move on. So next we have a stun immune Annihilus with counter tactics. And this one I wasn't feeling too confident with because I haven't fought Annihilus on this node before. I have fought stun immune Annihiluses before, but I was just feeling a bit slow here. So yeah, I went with the champion boost, and I wanted to also use an invulnerability boost because I figured I could get clipped in a long fight like this. And I do decide to heal up Quake. See, now he's just being super aggressive, barely giving me time to rest. I don't know why my heavy dropped there. I had a dropped input, unfortunately. Okay, and there I do get hit. Fortunately, that invulnerability boost pretty much mitigated all the damage. Yeah, just 10% left, 5%, 1%. Ooh, and he goes down. So yeah, next up we have Sabretooth with Recovery and Strike Back. So yeah, this one should be a fairly simple fight with Quake, at least compared to the last two it should be. And there we go. He goes down and no problems there. And now we have the classic debuff immune Dr. Doom. So again, going with Quake. And at this stage I was feeling pretty fatigued. I feel like my game was lagging just a little bit. But either way, eventually I just couldn't keep up with Doom. So yeah, I'm like, okay, sort of almost there. Fight's going pretty well so far. What could go wrong, right? He is just so quick, so aggressive. He actually catches me whilst I'm dashing back. Then he gets the shock. And you know when Doom gets the shock, he's gonna heavy you. And the problem now is that I'm below 18%. So then Assassin kicks in. And I catch a slap right in the face, even though I was holding my heavy. Couldn't evade that. Yeah, that was quite unfortunate. So I'm just gonna heal up Quake a little bit, because I just need to finish off this fight. %, shouldn't be too bad. Okay, and he goes down. And then finally we got the Thing boss, but unfortunately he has suicides, so this is not going to be a long fight at all. So I'm just going to go in with stall Spidey and let the poison and recoil do most of the work. All I have to do is bait a couple of specials and then he should be down. So yeah, unfortunately I did have 2 deaths in this war. So this probably wasn't my best war by any means, although it's probably the war where I did the most fights I've done before. Because I did 11 fights with Quake, and then this final fight with Spidey. So overall, not a bad war. Quake just absolutely destroyed it. So yeah, that's the Quake Marathon. The Quakeathon, I suppose. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.